husbands.
That's not Ashley.
You just said, no, that's not what they want. I'm a part of that they.
No.
And what I'm saying, yes, I am.
You said white women.
No, what I am saying right now is that I believe in equity. And when I say equity, I want everyone to have a fair, level playing field. I do not want
That's not the definition of equity. Take a look at Kamala Harris's 2020 campaign ad.
Let's let Ashley
Just because
finish.
you talk so much doesn't make you right, okay? A conversation is that you listen, you actually hear what somebody says, and then we have a discourse. Just talking over someone doesn't make your point any stronger. Equity we can say, we know that there are people who are some disadvantaged, some white poor folks who are more disadvantaged than some people who are black middle class. We know that. But what equity is that, and I will just say, white women are the ones who have benefited the most from affirmative action. So maybe you're sitting at this chair because somebody thought you deserved to have an equal playing field.
I don't agree with them.
You don't have to, but the facts are the facts. Like, you don't have to agree with it, but numbers are numbers and facts are facts. And we do know white women benefited more from affirmative action than even Anna, myself, or Abby, or you at this point. Equity is that we want an even playing field. We want everyone to have a fair shot.
That's an incorrect definition.
No, it's not.
Yes,
Equity
it is. Take a look at Kamala.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We have to talk about another full-blown meltdown on a CNN panel that really shows you how much people are sick and tired of the gaslighting from the mainstream liberal media, particularly the liberals in the mainstream liberal media who are actively trying to rewrite history in their own vision so that people are confused about basically everything that has happened in this country up until this point. Okay, we've already went over this. Okay, they're now currently trying to rewrite history in Kamala Harris's favor so that they can fact check Republicans and say that the Republican attacks against Kamala Harris are false, right? Like, for example, when Republicans attack Kamala Harris for being the border czar and epically failing at that job, they want to say, oh, well, that's false because Kamala was never border czar, even though the mainstream liberal media acknowledged that Kamala was, in fact, the border czar, right? But again, they're trying to erase history. They're trying to erase the fact that Kamala Harris was the most liberal senator ever, okay, in American history, okay? They want to erase that and try to pretend like, nah, that's not a thing, okay? That's not actually really a thing. Don't pay attention to these things, right? Now what they're trying to do is that they're trying to rewrite history on Biden's cognitive decline. Remember, they kept telling us up into the debate that Biden was the best he's ever been, okay? And if you don't believe us, then F you, okay? Which is what Joe Scarborough said on national television until the debate in which the world, okay, 60, 70 plus million people saw that Biden is, in fact, cognitively deteriorating. So now, fast forward, after the coup of Joe Biden, led by Obama and Democrat Party plutocrats who were afraid that Joe Biden could not beat Donald Trump because everybody can see that Joe Biden is cognitively declining, the mainstream liberal media is back to their same old tricks of gaslighting the American people by first saying that, hey, it wasn't a coup, right? That didn't happen. Joe Biden just willingly stepped down, okay? He wasn't forced, and that he's an American hero for it, okay? Because he surrendered to the Democrat coup to save democracy, right? This is essentially the argument that they're making. The other argument that they're making is that, well, also Biden is not mentally declining and health reasons had nothing to do with it. In fact, Joe Biden's perfectly fine, okay? He's as sharp as ever, okay? And you should just ignore all the things that happened up until this point, which led to Joe Biden stepping down. Just know that he's a hero. Just know that, right? This is what they're trying to do. And the reason why they're trying to do that is because they know that a key vulnerability for Democrats, especially Kamala Harris, is the fact that they all knew what was happening to Joe Biden and they hid it from the American public, right? Which, again, is extremely corrupt. So now they're trying to rewrite history so that Democrats don't have to deal with those attacks, right? This is the whole point of what they're doing, guys. They're quite literally trying to change history to take away attacks from the GOP. Okay, this is them trying to rig the 2024 election through media narratives. This is exactly what they did in 2020. They're doing it again. So this panel is going to have an absolute meltdown over some of these Democrats trying to gaslight people on Joe Biden's mental health. And this is pretty crazy.
Somebody says he had to. They don't understand the presidency.
If he were investigated and he was about to be impeached and maybe removed,
that's so obviously false that I mean,
it's not so
enough.
Obviously false. I'm telling you, he did not have to.
give it
He
up.
had
He has
all
not
the
given it up. He's still there for another 6 months when he's manifestly incapable of doing an exceedingly difficult job.
Excuse me. Tell me how you know he's manifestly incapable.
I'm sorry to say that this is a sensitive matter where there are a lot of folks who have been talking about this for some time.
Oh, yes, I've heard them too. My doctor tells me he thinks he might have something, but he also says, but he's not my patient.
And look, the deeper problem, the deeper question is who is actually in charge at any given time? You know, this notion that he's only sharp for 6 hours of the day.
Right.
This is an incredibly volatile moment in part because of his failures.
Are we having
this
a
incredibly
No,
wrong
there's
job.
everything you're saying, I'm sorry, is speculation. Let me tell you what is not speculation.
It's not
What is
speculation that he's
no,
a
it is
massive
speculation.
failure when
No,
it
it
comes
is
to
speculation because
sparking
actually,
geopolitical
unlike
crises
you,
around the
I've
world.
actually seen the guy at 9 o'clock at night. I have seen him after he has had 5 different events in 24
Might that
hours.
cloud your judgment?
No, what?
Do you think that makes you more objective?
Well, I
The
think
fact that I have actually seen him, whereas you're just reading gossip
is that
and
she has
speculation.
actually
Gossip.
experienced
We all saw the debate.
Right.
We all saw the debate where Joe Biden was clearly incompetent, unable to address questions that he should have been able to address. We know that Robert Hur and Merrick Garland kept those audio tapes from the public.
And Democratic lawmakers were
We all
desperate
saw
for
the
him to
debate,
leave.
which
Trying
is
to say
why
that Kamala Harris was now going to be running for president, deceived the
Democratic
American
lawmakers were
people.
and
this
long
is-
way
this is-
October
wait,
2021.
I'm sorry.
No, this is
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? You can see that this panel is getting out of control because they're telling the truth, right? The couple of truth tellers on the panel, okay, are basically saying, listen, Joe Biden was forced out, right, for a couple reasons. The first and foremost reason is because the Democrats, the elites, no longer believe that Biden could beat Trump because the mainstream liberal media and the Democrats could no longer gaslight the American people on Biden's mental condition after that debate, right? So, Biden's not stepping down because of his health. However, his health plays a role in it in the sense that he should be stepping down, or he should have stepped down a long time ago, but he didn't because all Democrats cared about was beating Trump. They don't give a damn if Biden is a vegetable. If the vegetable can beat Trump, they're going to stand behind it, right? And that's what the strategy was until they can no longer hide the reality of what was happening to Joe Biden, right? So once they couldn't hide it anymore, now all of a sudden they came out and they told the truth and said, listen, Biden, you can't run for re-election. You can't beat Trump. And we're going to force you out because we're not going to support you. We're not going to support your ticket. So to say that he wasn't forced out is just false, right? He, in fact, was forced out because Biden, up until being forced out, up until he decided he's not going to run for re-election, was telling everybody, I'm healthy enough to run. I feel good. I can do another 4 years. And that I'm not going anywhere. Challenge me at the open convention. Again, these people are trying to pretend like Biden never said any of this stuff and that the media didn't spend weeks after that debate questioning Biden's mental fitness. That initially was the reason why Democrats were revolting against Joe Biden, right? That was the initial reason. Well, we don't know if Biden can actually do it anymore, right? This is what it was telling people is justification for him to step down. Now, again, the real reason was that, well, we know he can't beat Trump because the American people now know that Biden can't do it, right? We can't lie to the American people anymore. And again, this is why they're now trying to rewrite this narrative. The reason why is because they know that Republicans are going to attack Kamala on the fact that her, along with all the rest of the Democrats, knew that Biden was mentally declining, right? Like this didn't just happen out of nowhere. It didn't just happen at the debate. It was happening before, and the media lied about it. The Democrats covered it up, and everybody knows it, okay? And it really does reflect on Kamala Harris's judgment and competence if, as vice president, she was either unaware of Joe Biden's mental decline, which again would suggest that she's incompetent, that she lacks judgment, or that she knew about it, but yet she covered it up for her own political gain, which would suggest that she's extremely corrupt and will do anything, will put her own career, her own power before the country. Because again, she knew that Biden was not fit to serve, but yet she said nothing about it. Said nothing about it. And again, this is a powerful line of attack, and this is why the media is so desperate to try to change the narrative. This is why they're trying to change the narrative on the border, because they know it works. This is why they're trying to change the narrative on Kamala's voting record as senator, because they know it works. This is why they're trying to change the narrative on Biden being forced out via coup, because they know that attacking Kamala Harris as an illegitimately, undemocratically elected nominee for the Democrat Party works, right? That's a powerful talking point. Anytime these people want to talk about democracy in January 6th, all you got to do is bring up the fact that, hey, there's no democracy in the Democrat Party. There's nothing legitimate about Kamala Harris. Nobody wants Kamala Harris, including the Democrats. The only reason Kamala Harris is the Democrat nominee right now is because Joe Biden stabbed Obama in the back because he was salty about being forced out, that he endorsed Kamala Harris. Which, again, you know he was reluctant to do, because in his initial statement, he didn't even mention Kamala Harris. He only did it after the fact. He endorsed Kamala to get back at the Democrat Party elites who forced him out, because everybody knows, including Joe Biden, Obama, that Kamala Harris can't win, right? They all know that Kamala Harris is the weakest candidate to try to beat Trump. She's probably weaker than Biden, to be quite honest with you. She's the weakest. So Biden's like, you know what? I'm going to endorse Kamala, so that means you guys can't have an open convention. That means you guys have to stand behind Kamala, somebody that we don't believe can win. So again, nobody believes that Kamala is competent enough to be president of the United States. These same people were struggling to endorse her last year. We've all seen the clips of Democrats basically, when asked about Kamala, basically said, I don't know, right? I mean, you're talking about Democrats struggling to endorse her for vice president. There's a reason why there were conversations about replacing her as vice president, because that's how weak they think she is. Now, the only reason Democrats are now rallying around Kamala is because they don't have another option. That's their only choice, because Biden made sure that was their only choice by endorsing her, guaranteeing that if Democrats decided to hold an open convention, which apparently is what Barack Obama wanted, right, to get a stronger candidate, they wouldn't be able to do so because the Democrat Party would be so divided that it would implode the party as a whole if they don't get behind Kamala. So everything that's happening right now is a giant psyop from the media, from the Democrats. They don't even really like Kamala. They don't. All these Democrats coming out here, oh, Kamala's so great, Kamala's so amazing. They could not say any of these things a year ago about her.
Joe Biden run again for president? He'll be 86 by the time his second term is over.
Yes, he should run again.
Why?
And he is running again.
If he's that old in his second term, the vice presidency becomes even more important. Should Kamala Harris be his choice the second time around?
You know, I really want to defer to what makes Biden comfortable on his team. I've known Kamala for a long time. I like Kamala, but they have to be a team.
Couldn't make it up, could you? It's not just Elizabeth Warren out to get Kamala Harris. Consider this headline from the Washington Post. Some Democrats are worried about Harris's political prospects at a pivotal point in Biden's term. Many party activists are not sure. The vice president has shown she's up to winning the top job. That's the Washington Post. And it stayed up as their top story on Monday morning.
1 year later.
But we have to remember, Vice President Harris is one of the most qualified people to run in decades. Look, she was a prosecutor, very effective.
Yeah, so you guys tell me, what changed? What changed for Elizabeth Warren? That was just a year ago. She couldn't even say with a straight face that, hey, I endorse Kamala Harris to be VP. Now all of a sudden, oh, Kamala Harris is the most qualified presidential candidate ever. And what did she do that's so great as VP? Okay, well, she visited an abortion clinic.
What do you think has been her biggest accomplishment since she's been vice president?
Oh, I have to say, since the Dobbs opinion, the way that she has rallied women and friends of women, also called men, around this country on the issue of abortion and just taken it home. First vice president in history to visit an abortion clinic. Go get them. You know, she's someone who talks openly about things that were kind of challenging for some people to talk about, but also to talk
abortion
about it with
President Biden didn't even mention the word abortion in his State of the Union.
Yeah, so this is a joke, okay? This is a giant joke, a giant gaslighting campaign from Democrats in the mainstream liberal media. And again, the rabbit holes of lies is so deep. Okay. And Democrats, they're going to eventually implode under their lies, right? There's just so much. There's just so much here. Everything about this party, everything about what's happening right now around Kamala is so fake. Okay. And anybody that's paying attention can see it.
The story that Joe Biden is lying to the public is not. When was the last time you were with Joe Biden? When was the last time you were Joe Biden? So if you weren't...
There are a lot of Democrats in Congress who were with him in October 2021 who were frightened and afraid in October 2021 because he could not clearly communicate a case for passing major legislation, something that he specialized in during the Obama administration.
Donald Trump's chief of staff was afraid of Donald Trump.
They still, the whole Republican Party is still afraid of Donald Trump.
And that was a real vulnerability for him.
The only time that we have talked about the 25th Amendment regarding a precedent in the recent history has been cabinet members of Donald Trump.
I appreciate the pivot. I think that makes a lot of sense.
No, it's not a pivot. It's true.
I just like to say thank you.
I'm going to give Tim the last word on this one.
Look, we are going to be able to deliberate and judge and debate when the president stopped being the same as the teleprompter Biden. But it doesn't matter today.
It does matter very much for the security of the United States.
Let me explain why it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter today because he moved aside in time for the Democrats to choose a candidate and to unite around a candidate. Whether you like that process or not is a different issue. Had he remained and then proved himself incompetent while the formal nominee, then one could say this man had dragged the country down. He waited too long, clearly, but how long is too long is something we won't know until we know about November. But in the meantime, there is no evidence, there's speculation that he is not running the ship.
Listen to these people, bro. I don't even think they listen to themselves. This guy basically just argued that, well, none of this matters anymore. It doesn't matter whether or not Biden's actually cognitively declining because, hey, he dropped out of the race and he's allowing Kamala to beat Trump, right? So it doesn't matter anymore. When it most certainly does matter because, again, he's dropping out because the American people know he's cognitively declining to the point where they're not going to vote for him, right? He's going to lose to Trump. So if he's not fit to run for re-election, then he's not fit to actually be president of the United States right now. And he should resign right now. I don't care about the politics of it. I care about the principle of it, right? You have somebody running the White House that is not actually running the White House. You say, oh, there's no evidence that he's not actually controlling the ship. What do you mean? They have to tell this guy to do everything, okay? At this point, I believe that they have to tell Joe Biden when to pee, when to wipe his butt. They probably have to wipe his butt for him, okay? Joe Biden's not controlling anything. He's not calling the shots. There are reports that Biden's meetings with his cabinet members are scripted, that somebody's giving Biden his talking points, and he's going into meetings with these individuals that are supposed to be running the country with him, and he's saying something, and he's pushing for things that were given to him by somebody else. And you're trying to tell me that, oh, Biden's running the country? He ain't running nothing. Biden still being president of the United States right now is a security risk to this country. It really is. Because if you don't believe he's fit enough to run for re-election, he's not fit enough to be president right now. That's just the facts. And these people trying to cover up and pretend, oh, there's nothing wrong with Biden. Again, you're lying. You're lying because there was nothing wrong with him. He'd still be in the race. He would still be in the race. The only reason he's out is because it's so obvious that even the average person that doesn't watch that much news can look at Joe Biden for 5 seconds and see, yeah, something's wrong with this guy. Everybody can see it. But here they are trying to spin the narrative because they don't want Kamala Harris to be held accountable for the fact that she lied and covered up Biden's cognitive decline, or she didn't know, which again speaks to her lack of judgment. Speaks to her incompetence that a lot of Democrats believe is the reason why she wasn't even qualified to remain vice president for Joe Biden. But again, they don't want to have that conversation. So they lie, they rewrite history, right? They gaslight, and they really believe that the American people are going to fall for this. And don't get me wrong, some of them will. But at some point, though, okay, the gaslighting is too much. The lies are too much. And it's going to become so obvious that a lot of people are going to revolt against this. A lot of people are going to push back against this and say, no, we're not going to stand on these lies anymore from the Democrat Party. You people are as evil as the people that you claim that you are against, right? You're more evil than the people that you claim you're fighting against, okay? Democrats are literally everything that they claim they're against. So, hey, we have more lies from the Democrats, more rewriting of history, more gaslighting from the media. But hey, these are the same people that are telling you that Kamala is such a great candidate, right? That's such confidence that Kamala can run this country and be president, and that, you know, she's amazing, okay? She's the best thing since sliced bread, okay? This is what they're telling the American people, okay? The same media that has lied to you about everything, okay? Everything for the past 3 to 4 years is the same media that is now trying to tell you that Kamala Harris is great and that nothing was wrong with Joe Biden. He stepped down because he was a great American patriot that wanted to save democracy, right? Again, amazing, absolutely amazing. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.